As ballots continue being counted in California, Republicans continue losing seats they thought they'd won nearly a month after the election was over. It's raising questions around the nation about our country's voting laws, but particularly in California, which has some of the worst problems in the U.S. One American News spoke with Mark Meuser, an election attorney who also ran for Attorney General of California. He explained that California ranked dead last in registration problems, which creates some of the worst provisional ballot rates in the whole country.
There are not ballots coming in late. What we have is that on election day, there were so many provisional ballots in the state of California, and they're just now getting to processing them and counting them. Provisional ballots tend to favor Democrats. And so what we have seen traditionally is about 2/3 of provisional ballots tend to lean Democrat and about 1/3 Republican.
He also explained California's voting laws allow for last-minute provisional and mail-in ballots, creating a massive backlog of votes that take weeks to be counted. In Riverside, for example, some 125,000 votes were cast on Election Day, but that number is dwarfed by the remaining 475,000 mail-in and provisional ballots. California also has a unique system that permits vote harvesting, a tactic he said heavily favors Democratic voters.
What vote harvesting is a change in the rule book of how we do elections in the state of California. The Democrats saw that they were down 5 to 10 points, and they went out there and they grabbed massive amounts of vote-by-mail ballots and brought them in. It's really a get-out-the-vote effort. The Republicans failed to get out their vote effort by going to people's doors on the last weekend. What did the Democrats do? They went out and got their people to harvest ballots legally. They just changed the playbook and they executed the new rules. They basically ran a better ground game. They got their people out.
Worryingly, Meuser adds this also opens the door for voter fraud.
There is an opportunity for fraud. They can knock on a Republican's door and say, hey, I'm here to collect your ballot, make it get in. And if somebody gave them that ballot, they wouldn't know until 30 days later when they looked at the, Secretary of State's website and go, wait a second, nobody turned in my ballot. If they come in and knock on a Republican door and they're Democrats, well, maybe they just run it through the shredder.
But vote harvesting and provisional ballots are only part of the game, and Meuser says other factors played a big part in the Republicans' defeat this November as well.
In California, you had all this money being spent on Democrats. John Cox had limited resources. He didn't have that much. The Democrats had a lot more money messaging. They had a better get out the vote effort. They had a better messaging effort. That's what money does. Money gets you boots on the grounds to go knock on people's doors. It gives you boots on the ground for printing, to hand out door hangers. It gives you TV ads. That money gets your message out. And if the Republicans aren't willing to get their message out, they're going to continue to go backwards.
Despite Democrats playing a better ground game, Meuser claims the Republicans ultimately lost because too many voters simply stayed home on Election Day.
When 3 million registered Republicans did not vote in this election, it's really hard to win. We got to stop pointing fingers at the liberals. We got to stop pointing fingers at those parties in power. We got to start looking at ourselves and saying, what can I do? The rule books have changed, which means your margin of victory has to be much higher as a Republican because the Democrats control the rules in the state of California, and they have made all those ballots that they saw going away because their people couldn't figure out how to follow the rules. They have found ways to change the rules so that those ballots are going to be counted now.
Pearson Sharp, One American News.